My name is Art Jackson. I'm a Latin jazz music producer. I find that an appropriate title in that I'm not known, um, perhaps somewhat locally, but mostly I'm not known, I'm unknown. And I think the material I've chosen was well put together and presented, and which accounts for my considering it a masterpiece. My masterpiece, anyway. Chant For Elegua, Mutants On The Beach, Bésame Mucho, To the End of the World, Cape Verdean Blues, Coqui, Incompatibilidade, Love for Sale, and Concierto. As my childhood was decorated fully with exposure to music in three forms principally, which were classical, jazz, and what I'm labeling Latin, because that covers a tremendous amount of territory. And my mother was an avid both musician, she played viola, and music listener and appreciator. My father also was such. His concentration was more jazz than the other two forms that my mother endorsed, except he had Chico O'Farrell was a well-known band leader from Cuba when I was a boy, and my father was crazy about Chico O'Farrell. But otherwise, it was my mother, her giving me the exposure to the root, let's say. Let's call it the root. And that moved to eventually studying trumpet. I attended a prestigious, still known as a prestigious School of Music, Eastman School of Music it's called, in upstate New York. And played through high school and early college years and left it after that. She liked music so much that she actually had an expense account at a local record store just to buy records, right? So each week she'd go and browse and come back home with 3 or 4 albums. She was a real influence in my life and continues to be, although she's many years deceased, she continues to be an influence musically. The first names that you'll see there who were inspirations are my parents' names. I wrote his name as his friends they used to call him Stonewall. So I wrote Stonewall and Alma, my mother's name, because they were and continue to be an inspiration. My reaction I don't think was as visible. My brother, for example, who is a drummer, his reaction was visible. When he was 4 or 5 years old, he was sitting in a chair rocking to everything that was being played. And my father bought him his first drum set when he was 5 years old. And it wasn't a toy set, it was a real junior-sized drum set. My sisters are both never-ending dancers. They dance continuously. That's their response. Mine was more just sitting and listening, daydreaming perhaps, as it happened, imagining myself as a performer. My trumpet hero was Dizzy Gillespie at the time. And I imagined myself, I laugh now, being able to stand before an audience with a group and perform as Dizzy did. That was it. I think my departure from a formal education in music was a result of not believing that there was any road to success in music other than being one of these performers that is a million seller. And of course, that isn't true. There are many roads in music that one can follow. And I guess I wasn't very sophisticated when those choices should have been made. And when I matured enough to understand I could involve myself in music, I was already retirement age.